Hi everybody, welcome to the Magic Kitchen. Today I'm going to be showing you my signature dish, New England style clam chowder. Now I have made this dish several times in a few different restaurants, and every time it has sold out within an hour. So now you can learn how to do it too. I start off with 1/4 of a cup of butter and got it melted. Then I have a shallot and 2 cloves of garlic. I'm just going to sweat them. That's the whole trick in this point right now. A major thing. Do not let it caramelize. Back up. Don't let it caramelize. If it gets a little brown, it's going to turn your entire batch brown. I made that mistake myself. You just want it to sweat. You give it the lid, and that'll make it sweat just that much faster. And once it gets that translucent color, then we're going to throw in the potatoes. And you can see, let me pull it out here. See how they've turned more translucent. They're kind of shiny. Look halfway cooked. That's the point that you want. I've got 4 potatoes chopped up. All try to go for the same thickness. That'll ensure even cooking times. The potatoes take the longest to cook, so it's always the first to put in. And they gotta have water or something. I use clam juice because this is the clam chowder. And this will add to the flavor because potatoes are just like mushrooms and they soak it all up. So get that on there. Give it a little shake to sit down. And we'll top it off with just enough water. Top it off with just enough water to help cover those potatoes all the way up. And we'll let them start cooking. The next thing to add is the next ingredient that takes the longest to cook, which will be your carrots. This is 4 carrots that you just peeled. You can cut them into fun shapes if you want. Makes it easier for the kids to eat them. They tend to like it if it's more fun to eat. But again, same thickness. That way they'll cook at the same rate. And then the last vegetable to add is 3 stalks of celery. This takes the least amount of time to cook out of all 3 of your vegetables. So we're going to hold off on it for a little bit and let this get good and cooked. Pause. Alrighty, our stock pot has reached the boil. And we gave those vegetables a good 10 minutes to get going. And if you can push one of these potatoes up against the edge with your spoon and just give it a little push. And you heard it hit that. And you can tell how long you need to cook it for based on how hard you have to push on the potato. I'm still pushing pretty hard, so they still need probably 5 more minutes. But that's the perfect timing to put in the celery because the potatoes are halfway cooked. And it takes half the time to get the celery to cook. So now we got all of our vegetables in here and going. The next thing to add in, start adding in our little bit of spices. A little bit of paprika, just a quarter of a teaspoon, about the same amount of ground thyme, just a little bit. Now rosemary leaves are a little bit tricky because as you see they're whole. You don't want to put them into your soup whole. So you take out about a tablespoon of them and take the time and work it in your fingers to break them up and grind them down a little bit. This would be a perfect time if you had like a mortar and pestle. This is exactly what you would use it for. And just get it broke up as much as you can before you put it in, because there's nothing worse than biting into one of those long things and having it poke you right in the gums. And basil, my personal favorite. I tend to do about 2 tablespoons. And of course, the pepper. If it's fresh cracked, it has more flavor. If you buy it already ground, it loses its flavor. And my favorite, the iodized sea salt. Just about a tablespoon. We'll stir that in. Dust the last of that salt off of my palm. And we're going to let those vegetables finish cooking. Give a little crack. At this point, maybe 10 more minutes. And then we'll add in the cream and we'll finish it. Alrighty, we gave it about 10 more minutes. We're going to check. And it just goes right through, just like butter. Potatoes are perfectly done. Now it's time to add in a quart of heavy cream. The whole stinking thing. Now it looks like chowder. And I got 2 clams of the whole baby clam. I like the baby clams, stay juicy and they're just easier to work with. They stay tender, they don't come out hard as a rock. The trick with clams or any seafood, you don't necessarily cook it so much as you just really warm them up. So we're just going to let that come back up to 10, and I'll show you my secret ingredient, how to thicken it so that it really looks and tastes like a proper chowder. And come back in just a minute. Okay, now it's given off a good bit of steam. Remember, it's seafood, not chicken. You don't have to cook it till it's dead. You just want to warm it up. So you see how much steam? That's just right. If you cook it, that's how you end up with bad seafood and it's too tough. Now, here's my secret ingredient. I know, cliche, but I've had so much trouble with cornstarch, especially with this, because you don't boil it at this point. So you can't cook the starch taste out of it. You can taste it, and that's about all you can taste if you use cornstarch. And then roux, I have such a devil of a time getting all the lumps out of that. With this, no muss, no fuss. If it's too thin, add more. If it's too thick, add water. And it never clumps on me. I love using it as a thickening agent. So easy. And we're just going to shake a little in. Start with about 1/4 of a cup right there. And just give it a good stir. Let it work itself in. And just work it in until we get the thickness that we like. 1/4 of a cup at a time. I know if Ramsey saw this, he'd probably freak out, but if he tasted it, he'd shut up. All I'm doing is putting the spoon on the bottom of the pot and going around in a circle. That's all I'm doing to get all that motion in there. And it also prevents anything from getting stuck to the bottom. I can feel it, it's starting to thicken up. So maybe one more shot and it'll be done. And I'll have dinner on the table. And finish stirring that all in. I'll show you the last test to give it. See how the back of the spoon is solid white? We're going to dip it. Draw your finger through it. Careful, it's hot. And you see how that line stays put. That's the thickness test. That's exactly what you want. Is that line to stay put. And it turned out beautifully. Give it a little bit more stirring. And this is the world famous New England Clam Chowder by Chef Pennington. I've sold out of this soup in several restaurants. And now you can make a gourmet meal at home. Have fun.